incentives to ones that are going to actually, and this was something that I was planning, as I said, to make sure that these companies are going to hire residents inside of the city so that you're not going to have an overpopulation of almost 60% of the people from outside of Santa Clarita coming here to work. And then the other 40% is here, and then 60% of what we have in our city is actually going out to LA, they're going to Lancaster, they're going to the Valley, things of that nature. If you get a very concentrated amount of your own population working in the companies inside of your city, you're not going to be as cluttered than what most other ones are, which is exactly what LA is. That's about as cluttered because you have so many different municipalities with people that are bringing in the actual people, which is where the money's coming from, which is great. But then you inside of that specific city, you've got 3 times as many people that are there during the day working than actually live there. How do we do that? Just like I mentioned, it needs to be curtailed a bit and make sure that people actually hire the people here as opposed to hiring people from the outside. And there's quite a bit of talent here. I've seen it. I know it personally. I didn't turn around and get enough education so I could turn around and just work out into another city or another state. So I would very much like to have it out here too. I hope that answers your question. Next. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And agree with the way you want to conduct things. But I really need that, don't I?
I can hear you fine, but for everyone else, you go right ahead.
Fine, I have no problem with this. One valley, one vision. Well, first of all, I like to think, I'm not happy with the way the city's being run in many aspects. I want to see some changes. One valley, one vision as it's designed and as we've studied for a long time is, in my opinion, is not being done correctly. In one aspect of one valley, one vision, it adds between 120 and 160,000 people to this population of 185,000. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you can do that right or differently. It's just wrong. It just doesn't work. With the infrastructure we currently have. And we're talking about vertical populations, we're talking about Metrolink stations and housing, I would call barrios surrounding them, to take people out of here to go work in LA. Now, as far as I'm concerned, One Valley, One Vision is taking down Newhall Pass and making it this wall One Valley, the San Fernando Valley. And every one of us moved here to get away from that. And I'm looking for a candidate that says we need to wholesale some of this stuff, throw it in the garbage, and start looking at different ways to really keep this community the way it is to some extent. Why do we need more population for more taxes, for more population for more taxes? You know. So I'm looking for a candidate that's going to take an issue, or give me one where you can put the rubber to the road and tell me what you're going to do to change what's wrong. And I've given you an example. I hope that that helps. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, it is a new program. Have I read and seen the entire thing? I wouldn't lie to you and tell you that I have. I can tell you that once I get in there, and I wouldn't want to sit there and say, guess what, I don't want to wait to get in there to start solving problems. I can't solve the problem from the outside where I am presently. Once I get in there, yes, I can start looking at it and evaluating it correctly. I can tell you that the proper growth in any business or any city has to be done in a way that's going to be very productive. Otherwise, it hinders itself and it actually backfires. I've seen it happen quite a few times in quite a few companies. I've had to go in there and correct that. If you do it the right way, it does work. Is it foolproof? Nothing in this life is foolproof. I can tell you that as long as you put enough ideas into it and enough heads together to make sure that it's going to be, and you get the right ideas behind them at the same time, it should work, and it should be very efficiently done in that manner. Will that happen? If I get in there, I can make sure it'll be quite a headache if they don't. That's the best I can say. Next. Yes, ma'am.
Here it is. I've lived in this Canyon Country area for the last 2 decades.
Yes.
And I have watched Valencia area getting town hall and mall, and Canyon Country getting homeless shelter and maybe recycling center and the dump. And I'm just curious. Well, I was curious, and every time I ask somebody a question, why is that so, they would tell me, well, Valencia area has a plan and Canyon Country doesn't. What would you say to a person who tells you that?
For Valencia or for Canyon Country?
Well, Valencia has a plan, Canyon Country doesn't.
Well, I can tell you that I live in Canyon Country, and we were only annexed 3 years ago. This is my first step into the political arena to help give some sort of representation for Canyon Country. So as of December, when I had everything ironed out and everyone was accepted with all of my paperwork, Canyon Country does now have a voice, and it probably will and for quite some time, whether I get into office or not. Now, to answer your question, is that going, why does Canyon Country not have a plan as opposed to why Valencia keeps saying they do? Because Canyon Country never had representation before. I understand that there is one incumbent that actually lives in the area. They do not actually live in, from what I understand, in the middle, and neither do I. I live on the actual outskirts of it, right down by Shadow Pines. However, now I'm in Santa Clarita, and I can actually give that voice forward to it. Is there now going to be a plan? Yes. There has been for some time that they've been redeveloping, which is nice. They have not done it to the speed and accuracy that I personally would like to see it, as much as what they have done in Valencia. However, you're also talking about a whole lot more people in Valencia as opposed to the amount of population we have in Canyon Country. I will say that at least from what I have read, the documents that I'm aware of, we should have much more voice and much more activity in Canyon Country, because I understand, and I'll say this in a modest sense, we have the highest percentage of income per capita in my area, even for Valencia, Stephen Ranch, and quite a few other places. So why we don't have a real large voice and why we don't have a better plan than what has been or is going on, I don't know. But I can tell you it will once I get in there, because I'm part of it now. From the area of Canyon Country that I'm familiar with, because it does go to a specific area, and Stonecrest was the area that was actually just annexed in 2006, you're probably looking at a ratio of probably about 18 to 22% in that area as opposed to everywhere else in Santa Clarita. Am I accurate on that? I can give you better figures later if you want me to, but I believe that's about what it is. So close to a quarter or just under. Yes, ma'am.
That kind of terrorized a neighborhood. They came in and told them that things weren't up to code and all that. And I know Canyon Country has a lot of 70s tracks and stuff. And I think we kind of like it that way. Do you agree with that beautification committee telling people their homes that they bought and stuff are not up to code when it's not any?
Specific codes that I know of have changed over the years, building codes or otherwise, specifically with housing. For the most part, some of these codes are supposed to grandfather people in. Some of these other codes do not. Do I believe in that? No. I believe that everything should be grandfathered and people should have their own voice to believe so in my